Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Under Armour Clutchfit Force in the latest camouflage colorway. Now inside the box, all you get are the shoes themselves. They do not come with any extras. So let me get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is one of the most underrated high-end shoes on the market. And Under Armour as a whole is just one of those brands that a lot of people seem to overlook when it comes to soccer cleats. But honestly guys, they're making some absolutely fantastic stuff. They have two lines right now, both of which are very, very good. The Clutchfit line, which is what I have right here, and the newer Speedform line. Big fan of both, and trust me when I say if you give Under Armour a chance, you will not be disappointed with their high-end products. We're going to be going over all the details in this video in regards to how these things fit, feel, and perform. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire video. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $175 retail price. And actually, in some of the older colorways, you can pick this shoe up for around $100 right now, which is an absolute steal. So if you are on a budget, this is definitely one of those shoes that you may want to consider if you're looking to try something new. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway as well as talk about the general appearance of the Clutchfit Force. Now this being the latest colorway does feature a pretty unique green camouflage kind of pattern across the entire upper, which is really, really interesting. And then it's accented with this bright orange color that you're going to find in the sole plate, the heel counter, the laces, the heel liner, as well as the Under Armour logo on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. So it gives off this kind of hunting vibe, at least that's what it reminds me of. And overall, I think it's a pretty cool looking shoe. If you want to stand out in the most interesting way possible, this is definitely one of those colorways that's going to do that for you. In regards to how the shoe actually looks, it's a pretty straightforward design. They didn't go overboard with the branding. Obviously, you do have the Under Armour logo on either side, like I mentioned, which does stand out in particular on this color because it is kind of a darker green background with a bright orange logo. But nonetheless, I think it's a pretty good looking shoe. Of course, everybody has their own opinion. Some people probably think it's ugly. Some people probably think it looks great. Everyone can have their own opinion. But I'd like to hear yours down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, I'm personally a big fan of the Clutchfit Force. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is one of those shoes that I think is truly underrated in today's high-end soccer cleat market, and that's partly due to it being an Under Armour shoe. Under Armour is, at this point, they've been making really good shoes for the last couple of years at a high-end level. Not really too familiar with their low-end stuff, although I know it's pretty popular at big department stores and stuff like that. But they're still not a well-established brand in the soccer cleat industry. When you think Under Armour, you don't normally think soccer. But like I said, for the last couple of years, they've produced some real winners when it comes to their high-end shoes. The Under Armour Blur Carbon 3 in both synthetic and kangaroo leather is one of my personal favorite shoes of all time. Really, really big fan of those. They recently came out with the Speedform CRM, another really good shoe. And the Clutchfit Force has been out for about a year now. And again, it's one of those shoes that is highly underrated. And considering it retails for $175, which is a little bit less than most high-end shoes out there. And of course, you can get older colorways on sale for about $100, like I mentioned earlier in the video. It's one of those shoes that if you're looking to branch out, if you don't want to buy another Nike or Adidas product, Under Armour is one of those brands that I would strongly consider. They're slowly becoming a brand like Mizuno, where everyone knows Mizuno makes really good stuff, but very few people actually kind of take the plunge and buy a Mizuno product. Under Armour, like I said, kind of reminds me of that brand to a certain extent. So with the Clutchfit Force, it's one of those shoes that obviously is not in the spotlight very much, and that's partly my fault. There have been several colorway updates since the initial launch color that I did do a review of quite a long time ago, and I just haven't brought in more colorways to make videos on, just because, I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't. This colorway was particularly interesting, plus I really wanted to make an update video on this particular shoe, so here it is. Under Armour Clutchfit Force. What's it all about? It's a thin synthetic upper material. It's what they call Trivela Performance Microfiber, and it's a two-way stretch. The way that it works is you have a base layer of synthetic, which is what the camouflage pattern is actually printed on, and then on top of that base synthetic material, you're going to find the Clutchfit material, which is essentially these kind of hourglass shaped cutouts on kind of an elasticated, rubberized kind of webbing that is fused directly to the surface. Now you can see the pattern actually changes up. The cutouts get bigger, they get smaller around the edges, and that's because this helps to reinforce the base synthetic material, which is slightly elasticated. It's going to stretch in certain directions to maintain a nice comfortable fit. When you put these on your feet, and you guys will see this a little bit during the on-feet portion of the video, you'll find that the upper actually stretches a little bit when you pull the laces tight and really forms to your foot. It's an interesting sensation that really no other shoe on the market offers at this point in time. A little bit like the original Puma Evo Power, but slightly more extreme in terms of how much stretch you're going to notice when you pull those laces tight, which is a really good feature, both in terms of comfort as well as actual structure and support. The shoe feels very responsive, wraps your foot pretty much perfectly, but at the same time doesn't feel restrictive. It's not a super tight fit like what you're going to find from the Mercurial line, for example. It fits nice and snug, there's no extra space on the inside, but it doesn't feel like it's squeezing anything. So you're getting this really interesting kind of stretchy synthetic material. It is on the thinner side, but it's certainly not as thin as some shoes like the Mercurial Vapor 10, the Superfly 4, the X15.1. I would say, if anything, it's kind of similar to the Messi 15.1 in terms of thickness, but I would say the synthetic itself does feel a little bit thinner than that shoe. Now, because of this kind of slightly rubberized Clutchfit material on the surface, it does kind of have that all over very light grippy sensation. So to a certain extent, you can compare this to something like a Predator Instinct, but obviously the amount of grip you're getting is not to the same extreme. But still, it's a very interesting type of sensation when you wear this shoe. It does take some getting used to, and you'll find that the more you use it, the more you will end up liking it. But like I said, it's just a really, really interesting material. One of the most unique synthetics currently on the market. Now the laces run through the middle of the shoe. As you guys can see, it does have a tongue, pretty standard design, and it's got a nice deep lacing system as well, so you can get that nice, snug, secure fit once you do pull those laces tight. Low cut in the heel, smooth synthetic leather liner on the inside with some decent padding, so step-in comfort is not an issue, and step-in comfort is actually a highlight of this shoe, not only because the upper material feels really good out of the box, but also because it has what I think is the best insole on the market in a pair of soccer cleats. If you're looking for a running shoe-like amount of cushion in a pair of soccer cleats, the Under Armour brand is really something to look at. Not so much the Speedform line, but definitely the Clutchfit Force with the insole that it comes with. Fully removable, of course, as you guys can see. The top layer is a 4D foam. It doesn't actually have any mesh lining, which I really, really like. 4D foam is kind of a memory foam type of material. And then underneath the second layer, you can see the split right there, is this orange foam, which is what they call Micro G, which is a very, very kind of spongy, responsive foam. It's a slightly thicker than average insole, as you guys can see here by the side profile, but the amount of underfoot cushioning that you get from this particular insole is quite remarkable. Like I said, they feel like a pair of low-profile running shoes in terms of how much cushion you actually get. And what's also pretty remarkable about this insole is the Micro G foam is surprisingly durable. It doesn't break down, it doesn't compress and feel pretty much completely flat and hard after, let's say, a month or so of using it, like you're going to find with a standard foam insole. So it's a very durable cushion that lasts quite a long time. And like I said, the amount of step-in comfort you get from these insoles is really, really good, and it makes the experience with this shoe much better than it would otherwise be. As far as the rest of the shoe is concerned, you are going to find an external heel counter with the little cutouts that I personally really like. External heel counters, some people ask me about them. Why is it better or why is it worse? It's not necessarily better or worse, it's more of a personal preference thing. Are you going to notice a difference in feel from an external and internal heel counter when you're actually wearing the shoe? The answer to that question is not really, but I just like the little bit of extra bulk, the little bit of extra rigidity an external heel counter generally has to offer. And I think it looks cool. That's really the main difference between external and internal at the end of the day. So I just thought I would do that little takeaway there because a lot of you guys do seem to ask me about that. So it does have this external heel counter, which I really like. And then of course you have the Core Speed outsole, which is a relatively flexible plastic outsole, but it's got some decent thickness to it as well. It does have kind of a thinned out area right here in the middle of the forefoot for added flexibility. And the shoe does not feel restrictive or stiff on your feet at all, even from right out of the box. So that's definitely a really good feature, but it does have the correct and proper amount of stiffness running through the midfoot, which is what you want in order to maintain a nice solid feel when the shoe is on your feet. And then of course you have the stud pattern, which is pretty much all bladed studs. was, but they have kind of rounded edges to them. They're almost like a rectangle shape, as opposed to being kind of more square like they are towards the front. So the front ones are a little bit smaller, and then the back ones in the forefoot are a little bit longer, and then the heel ones are even longer than that. So they do vary in size. They've got some good length to them, and it's a pretty aggressive traction pattern when you're using it on a nice natural grass field. It grips really, really well. And honestly, I don't have any complaints in regards to the amount of traction that this shoe provides. Really, really good performance. And like I said, not much to complain about here. It's a very good all-around shoe. There's really not too many things about it that I would personally change. I just think it's a unique experience. And again, a highly underrated shoe that a lot of people overlook, mainly because it's Under Armour and not made by Nike, Adidas, or Puma, or whatever your brand of choice may be. So again, if you're looking to branch out, if you're trying to get something different, and even if you're on a bit of a budget and you want to buy a good high-end shoe that's relatively light, very comfortable, and offers a premium thin synthetic, this is definitely one of those shoes to consider. Not necessarily in the latest colorways, but maybe in one of the older colorways that you can get for around $100 or so, because at that price especially, this is just a really, really good deal and a fantastic soccer shoe no matter how you look at it. As far as weight is concerned, the Clutchfit Force is a light shoe, but it certainly isn't going to blow you away with how light it actually is. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that it weighs in at 8.25 ounces, the equivalent of 234 grams. So it's right in the same ballpark as shoes like the Adidas Messi 15.1, as well as the Adidas X 15.1, which are two relatively popular shoes. The X more so than the Messi model, but nonetheless, it is a shoe that does feel relatively light on your feet. It has that nice, snug, secure, kind of responsive feel when you pull the laces tight. And like I said, it's not the lightest shoe in the world, but they certainly don't feel heavy by any means. So if you're looking for that kind of close to the foot type of fit and feel from your shoes, you're definitely going to get that from the Clutchfit Force. All right, so here is a look at the Clutchfits on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock orange laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of reflective olive green SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You'll find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're very comfortable from right out of the box. Like I mentioned earlier, when you pull the laces tight, you'll find that the sides of the shoe actually kind of pull up with the actual laces, and they have that elasticated quality where the shoe wraps your foot really, really tight and really securely, but without squeezing your foot, if that makes any sense. So you get that kind of supported, structured feel when the shoes are tied tightly, but like I say, they don't feel restrictive on your feet in any way. The material itself is very soft and very, very flexible, so break-in is kind of a minimal. It's more just getting used to how they feel on the ball, which, like I said, does not take long, and once you do get used to them, they feel really good. It's a thinner shoe with a little bit of extra grip, but they're not overly thin either. So there's a lot to like here with the Clutchfit Force. In regards to width, they're going to be suitable for most people. They have that elasticated quality to them, so they're not going to stretch permanently. Once you untie the laces, it kind of bounces back to its original shape, but they have some decent width pretty much all the way through. So these are going to be suitable for pretty much anybody. In regards to sizing, I find that they run about a half size small, which is kind of the norm for Under Armour. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Under Armour Clutchfit Force. Again, if you guys are looking for more information on this shoe, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. Along with more info on that page, you'll find high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself. They'll give you a better idea as to how they do look in person, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick them up below their normal $175 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link in the description, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the Clutchfit, leave them down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.